name's Rachel Ball. I'm Assistant Principal of Teaching and Learning, and I'm here to introduce the how-to guide on retrieval practice. So what actually is retrieval? Retrieval is the practice of recalling learned information from memory with little or no support in order to make it stronger. Douglas said, retrieval practice occurs when learners recall and apply multiple examples of previously learned knowledge or skills after a period of forgetting. So there's been a huge amount of research that's been done into retrieval practice. Most famous has been done by Bosky et al., who rated retrieval practice as having high utility for classroom practice. It's based on understanding of Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve. So we know it's really, really hard to remember material. And we know that spending time each day trying to remember information will decrease the effects of the forgetting curve. Professor Bjork summarises, using your memory shapes your memory. Academics, particularly have referred to practice as the testing effect. So you might see it written down in some material as the test effect rather than retrieval practice. They write that testing is a powerful means of improving learning, not just assessing it. And they actually did a study where there were 3 group students who were all given information on the same topic. The first group were given information on 4 separate occasions. The second group were given the information 3 times and then 1 retrieval or recall lesson. And the third group were given the information on 1 occasion and then had 3 recall or retrieve lessons. Now you might expect the first group to perform best in the assessment that then followed, but that's not true. The group that performed the best were actually the group only given the information on 1 occasion, followed by 3 retrieval or recall lessons. In addition to that, Bjork says forgetting focuses remembering and fosters learning. Remembering generates learning and causes getting, gets remembering and supports new learning. Lots and lots of reading that you can do on a retrieval practice. I would really, really recommend, first of all, this book by Kate Jones, Retrieval Practice, and I linked below some other examples of further reading as well. In terms of the benefits of retrieval practice, Kate Jones goes into a lot of depth in this in her book. We know that retrieval practice aids later retention, so it makes the memory stronger the more you try and remember them. We know that it helps us identify gaps in knowledge. We know that it helps learn more from the following learning episode when they have previously retrieved information. We know that it helps them organise knowledge, that it transfer knowledge to new contexts, that it facilitates the retrieval of material that wasn't even tested, improves metacognition, it prevents interference from previous material when learning new content, it provides valuable feedback for us teachers to know where gaps are in knowledge, and that it actually motivates students and helps them want to study more, or actually learn more, which can only be a benefit for us in the class. So there are ways in which you can use retrieval classroom. Tried and tested. So I would say generic methods that work in history, but also work in other subjects as well. So 5 a day. So at the beginning, students are given 5 questions to test their knowledge, their prior knowledge. And now, what I'm doing that is actually to look ahead to think to what knowledge they're going to need for that lesson, and then retrieve this knowledge. So, for example, when I teach the Prague Spring, I might want to bring in some retrieval on Hungarian Rising, because there's a good chance that people are going to have to make links between those two when learning about the Cold War. You can just do generic questions based from anywhere in the course as well. The second technique is to use retrieval grids. So students are presented with grids, usually about 12 boxes, but you can vary it, you can differentiate depending on your group. And the questions then a level of difficulty. Students get different points for different questions depending on the level of difficulty. And there is a whole lot of ways that you can do this. Sometimes I do this just with dates, for example. You know, what did X happen? It could be about individuals, it could be just comprehension questions about something they've been learning about. Technique 3 is a knowledge dump, and this is literally students writing down everything that they can remember about a particular topic, and then you as a team go through what they found they've written down and see where their gaps are. And then finally, COPs and RIS. So similar to knowledge, students write down as much as they remember about a topic, but they then rob ideas from other people in the class to add to their list, make their list more comprehensive. So some do's and don'ts of retrieval practice. There are a few misconceptions going around. It's really important. First of all, really important to keep it low stakes. If you are doing 5 a day, for example, don't record how many marks students have got in manner. It's completely low stakes. They shouldn't be worried about the result. It should be motivating. Absolutely, you should be looking at how successful they are. You should be finding out where the gaps are. You might, at the end of a quiz, for example, ask them to put their question to see which questions they got right and wrong. That's fine. But you should not see it as a formal assessment, and you shouldn't be writing down marks. Secondly, students should feel a certain amount of success in retrieval practice. The statistic for is about 80%. So you should feel like they're having to work hard. We know these difficulties and having to think and work hard. The actual goal of retrieval practice is hard work, but there should be a certain amount of success that they're able to have. They should be able to see their scores rise. They should be able to feel as if they motivated because of the success that they're having. That all students are involved. It's some of you do it and some of you don't, and it's really important that it's worth it for you. So the thing about these strategies, you can repeat them multiple times, and again, if you're marking, that means it's workload for you in terms of marking as well. In terms of don'ts, let students use their books or their notes. It's really important that they are doing retrieval practice from memory and not from any notes. Otherwise, they're not doing the hard work of retrieval practice. Secondly, don't do retrieval practice every lesson. Really important that you vary the diet. So one lesson I might do a day, another I might do a find and fix, another lesson I might do a knowledge jump, another lesson I might do a correlate. Vary it. Thirdly, so keep the knowledge in. So it's really important to know what you're covering in future retrieval practice, where things like knowledge organised can be beneficial. So you might say to students, okay, your homework is to learn all the key names and dates from your knowledge organiser. We'll concentrate on that section of the knowledge organiser. It's really good if students know, I guess this adds to the success they might have, what they're going to be tested on. So 4 examples of how you might use it in the history classroom. There are tons more, and if you go on to, you'll find lots of examples of retrieval practice brilliantly, but here's 4 to start you off. So first of all, find fix. I love this one. So students have a grid like what I outlined above, but they have to find and fix the errors. So it might be dates, it might be sticks, it might be individuals, it might be just errors, comprehension errors about facts in history. Really get them thinking hard about and helps them to learn dates and event people. List it. So a really good example of this Aaron Knight, where she does a bit like a 5 a day. So 5 events from the Cold War, 5 significant figures from say history, and just list as many as they can, or up to 5 within those criteria. Narratives are a really good one, I think, particularly for recalling things like GCSE. If you have to write an account question, is can be really useful. So students retell the narrative of the event, see what key knowledge that they've missed out. So it might be that they have one of the causes of an event, the consequences, or haven't got things in the right order. So the teacher can go through the narrative, they can see what they've missed out, what they've included. then the final example is find the link. So this works really well for key events, key people, key vocabulary. So you have two columns with two key vocabularies, for example, and the third column says what's the link. And think about what each of those mean, but then what the link can be for. So you could do pricing and the pricing, the link between them. So very helpful and giving you a bit of basic knowledge and how you can use it in the classroom. But it absolutely teaching, and I found it really, really helpful as well. Thanks for listening.